How's it going, people? Jack here, and welcome back to the channel and to another reaction to the PointlessHub channel, where today we'll be watching a video on what is perhaps the best consistent rewatch of a movie that I've ever had, Cloverfield. This is, without a doubt, the best original American kaiju, beside the first Pacific Rim movie. Because the second one, much like Bruno, we don't talk about it. I know that Cody has a video on it, it has been recommended to me, but we'll be talking about that one much later. Now, Cloverfield introduced to me and many others in 2008 to the found footage genre. I know that it's rather old, they're like movies from the late 80s that employ that technique already, but obviously the most well-known one are like the Blair Witch Project, and of course the one that came out a year prior to this one, Paranormal Activity. Those are known, but ironically enough, Paranormal Activity ended up kind of butchering the found footage genre, but this one, coming out in 2008, truly sold it because the cinematography was so clean. And Clover, as a monster, truly sold it. As an example, I just finished a video game adaptation to A Quiet Place through a game called A Road Ahead. And the Death Angels that are the monsters in the game kind of have like sort of the body structure of Clover. But yeah, these are things that he's obviously going to be diving into. And of course, the many all the tangential movies in the Cloverfield universe. So without further ado, let's dive into kaijus.
Kaijus. Everyone likes kaijus.
Yeah.
The robot fights of Pacific Rim, any version of Godzilla, serious or silly. And who doesn't love Gamera? I love Gamera.
My
I talk
turtle.
a lot about giant monsters, how much I love them. But let's be honest, if you were stuck in any of these scenarios, it would be absolutely terrifying. Imagine if you were just going about your day, and suddenly your entire life is uprooted by an incomprehensible beast. No context, no overhead view, you just witness the destruction the only way you can, on the ground. And so you film it. That is Cloverfield.
Yep. This was absolutely terrifying. Yo, I watched Cloverfield in cinema, at the movie theaters, and when that shot of the Statue of Liberty's head just flying came down, everyone was like, what the hell? Like obviously the director was hinting to some real life events here. Like obviously the director was trying to implicate some real life events here, but still, it was a crazy shot.
For a time as a kid, Cloverfield was my favorite movie. When it came out, it had such an aura that couldn't be described. Every time I viewed it, I just had a sinking feeling. But there's a mystery to it. From its marketing to the hidden little details throughout the film to the concept of just found footage in general. This was my first found footage movie, and it stuck with me like nothing else truly did.
Oh no!
To me, it was entirely unique. It still kind of is. As the years went by, of course my opinion on the movie changed. The mystery element sadly faded away. You learn all about the behind the scenes, how it was directed by Matt Reeves and produced by J.J. Abrams, and T.J. Miller went on to be T.J. Miller. Eventually, you just kind of stop watching it. You move on, until you decide to watch it again for a silly YouTube channel. And yeah, after watching this movie again, I still love it, man. I could finally rant about this thing. Let's do it.
It's dope
When
shit.
looking back at the big found footage movies, like Blair Witch, Paranormal Activity, and of course Cloverfield, they all have one thing in common: underground marketing, word of mouth. These movies only succeeded because it got people talking. Imagine if you were in the theaters in 2007, watching, say, Transformers, and this mysterious trailer begins to play. And then it ends. There isn't even a title, just a date. And so, the speculation began. Here's the thing, I didn't even pick Transformers as a joke. The first Cloverfield trailer premiered on Transformers opening weekend. Truly, this was a golden age of cinema.
Shut up, Grandma!
So what could this new movie be? Everyone had different ideas. The article I read to jog my memory on the whole thing mentioned how people speculated it was a new Godzilla movie. And I gotta say, while reading that, I had a flashback like in Ratatouille. I was one of those people that thought it was Godzilla. Other people had other ideas.
Really?
In the first trailer, some guy says it's alive.
God, it's alive! It's huge!
And for some reason, people misheard that. They thought he said, it's a lion.
Oh no! Oh no! I had that sitting in the back of my head thinking, did people really, sincerely think, obviously, because Transformers was mentioned there, that they were doing a Voltron adaptation? Come on, no. If they couldn't get Godzilla right, how the hell were they going to get Voltron right?
God, it's alive! It's huge!
For a few months after this trailer released, some people thought that this was a teaser for a Voltron movie. Because part of Voltron is a lion.
That's so
anyway,
dumb.
The initial mystery took the internet by storm. Maybe it was Godzilla. Maybe it was Voltron. The only thing to go off of was that initial date in the teaser, 1/18/08.com.
To which actually, if you remember, when was it that it came out? The latest Power Ranger movie. It has some rather dark moments, but way more fun ones like Megazord suplexing Goldar. But hear me out, it's not like I'm Zack Snyder here desiring a constant adaptation of superhero mythos that are supposed to be as dark as possible, with full of symbolism. No. I just think that if you were to do a Power Ranger or a Voltron movie, putting it in a dark setting where things are rather somber, it would work a bit more and crush lots of our childhoods. That would get my seal of approval.
You went to 11808.com, you got these strange pictures. Today, we know that's just TJ Miller's face, but at the time, man, what could it mean? Spooky. This was the start of an ARG, an augmented reality game created to drip feed information to internet sleuths.
So
a mystery
good.
hunt involving various strange websites, this girl's vlog, fake MySpace profiles, and even slushies. Oh boy, the slushies.
Yeah.
This wasn't the first or last time an ARG hit the internet. Halo did it with ilovebees.com, and Gravity Falls fans spent months trying to find Bill Cipher's corpse. But
Years.
this one was slightly different.
It's still going.
This one told a backstory. Each bit of information was a puzzle piece that fleshed out the Cloverfield world. Then sometimes information that wasn't tied to the ARG at all just took the community by storm. What was this concept art? Was the monster actually a giant whale? So how much of the ARG actually played a part in the movie? Alright, so we're gonna go through this quick just in case anyone hasn't seen the movie in a while. Our video/movie begins with a disclaimer from the US government. The following footage is a part of the Cloverfield case. The video then begins with our main character, Rob Hawkins, filming an intimate moment. Every time I show people this movie, I entirely forget that this is the beginning. So there's like a minute of silence where we're both sitting there, and I just know they're wondering what the hell I'm showing them. This girl, as we learn, is his friend, Beth. They are not dating. This guy is just casually filming a one-night stand. Oddly enough, that becomes a plot point later. The footage skips to a few months later.
Is this thing on?
Look out!
Babe, it's not my camera. I don't know if it's the on button or the zoom button.
The camera is now being borrowed by his brother, Jason.
Jason!
His fiance had an idea for Jason to go around filming all of Rob's friends, have them say little goodbye messages. This whole movie is because this girl had a corny Pinterest idea. Jason doesn't give a shit though, so he pawns the camera onto HUD, telling him to do a very important job. One that HUD will surely do correctly.
Somehow this worked. It's the dumbest thing ever, but it worked for the movie, because it explains how sporadic the filming was, because of one stupid individual.
And then he spends the entire night not doing that.
What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, dude?
What's up?
Goes around filming friends having personal and relationship issues, and then upon learning that his friends slept together, he goes and tells the whole party.
I knew it. They had sexual intercourse, they told me.
Did you know that Rob and Beth had sex?
No.
I want an alternate version of Cloverfield where the monster just doesn't attack, and the next morning Rob just sees 50 minutes of HUD telling everyone about his sex life. Sadly though, the monster does attack.
Care about the most.
The whole film is just them trying to survive a kaiju attack. They try to escape, that doesn't work out. Rob gets a distressing call from Beth, he learns she's trapped, and the group ignores the evacuation to walk to Central Park. It goes about as well as you would imagine. The survivors get on the last chopper out of New York, right as the creatures bombed from the military.
And decide to,
Man, if only the chopper flew higher. After
Yep.
witnessing TJ Miller get gobbled up, Rob and Beth say their last goodbyes as Central Park gets carpet bombed. The final shot is a flashback at Coney Island. Something falls into the ocean. Found footage films were once a novel concept. Then Paranormal Activity came out and spawned a trend that pretty much killed the genre. What we learned afterwards is that there is
Chronicle! Oh my word! I just saw a quick shot of Chronicle and I was like, that movie was dope! He had the Human Torch, he had the dude from the Cure for Wellness, Dan DeHaan. I know that just dropped Michael B. Jordan as the Human Torch, like was it his best role ever? Perhaps it was the worst. But yeah, that one was also a very dope found footage movie. Man, I can't remember that, I forgot about that. It came out in 2012. Damn, it's been a while.
It's very much a wrong way to do a found footage film. Every movie in the genre really hinges on two simple questions. One, how did the footage survive? Like as an example, there's this movie called Apollo 18. Lost footage of why we really never went back to the moon. It's so stupid. Anyway, it ends with an alien attacking them and they all explode in space.
But they somehow got the footage.
They blew up next to the moon. How did anyone on Earth get the footage? Number two, why is the cameraman still filming? 90% of these movies can't answer that. Paranormal Activity just gives up by the third movie even rationalizing it. Cloverfield luckily doesn't have this problem. How did the camera survive? Well, it fell underneath the rubble before the final blast. Why is the cameraman still filming? Because HUD fucking sucks.
Sorry. What? But I'm documenting. Not this.
It's kind of a genius creative decision to have your camera guy be a doofus who ignores social cues.
For all we know, it's from another planet and it flew here.
Like Superman?
Yeah, exactly. Like, wait,
Do you know who Superman?
Superman is?
Makes things more interesting.
Yeah.
We have a camera guy who really shouldn't be filming this, but he is anyway. He thinks it makes him super important.
Yeah. People are gonna want to know how it all went down.
HUD is in this movie a lot.
If this is the last thing you see, that means I died.
Despite that aspect of the movie really aging terribly, it's still my favorite found footage film. And it's not just because it's a kaiju movie and I'm a sucker for that. It's because of how complex this movie really is when you look under the hood. Like, just think
Yeah.
about how many pieces had to come together to pull this off. Found footage is a low-budget genre. The Blair Witch Project just had their actors film in the middle of the woods. Paranormal Activity was in a suburban house. Half the movie was people sleeping. Visually, there isn't a lot going on. Except for in Cloverfield. And I guess Chronicle, but this is about Cloverfield. This movie's kind of deceptive. Each shot seems random, but it's all deliberate to build up the scene. As a certain decrepit old man once said, you might not have noticed it, but your brain did. Like, take the bridge scene for instance. Rob gets a call. The camera pans to his brother, getting pushed away. Pan back to Rob.
Then to the light post.
Calm down.
A chopper shows up, and its light blinds the camera. Everyone looks at the bottom level of the bridge. Why are people running away? Who knows? The chopper is now shining a light on the crowd. The camera zooms in on Jason, who stands on a statue to get a vantage point. The chopper is now shining a light on him, and whatever everyone is reacting to off screen. We get a hint that it's something above him though, considering there is now water dripping on his head. The camera finally zooms out to reveal that it's the monster's tail. It's a little exhausting for me to break it down like
Yeah,
that.
but
the whole
it's
movie's
good.
like that. Deliberately shot to seem not deliberate. So much thought given into every little action and pan of the camera. Because this is information the audience still needs to know to get the scene. Just like in any other movie, there is still build-up, tension, and payoff. It's just done in a single cut, with a first-person view.
It was also the best advertisement for Panasonic. Like, I had movie nerd friends who, like, were using Microsoft Movie Maker at the time to, like, splice the footage from those skateboard trips or whatever, who wanted so much to buy the HVX 100. I think it was the one that was used to the movie, and they, oh my god, they were nerding out about it. So I want to believe, at least, that it had an effect on the Panasonic sales.
I could easily imagine the same scene playing out in a conventional kaiju movie. The impact, though, just wouldn't be the same. What's kind of funny is that even though the movie did so much to lead the audience along, audiences back in 2007 weren't really ready for it. It turns out that the shaky camera led to a lot of sick people. That's fine, weed out the weak. They never could have survived hardcore Henry.
Oh shit! Oh yeah.
As a kid, all this adult stuff kind of went over my head, but now that I'm older, I kind of realized that this was like a CW romance drama that literally got stomped on.
Oh my god!
I think the weirdest thing about watching this movie now, man, I don't know how else to say it, it feels old, but that can't be right. I saw this in theaters. How can this be old? But everyone's on Blackberries. Or flip phones.
Oh.
And just this guy's hair. This guy's
Yes.
hair dates it the most. The technology of the time is inseparable from the movie itself, which influences how the entire movie is cut together.
Camcorders.
It's disjointed and out of place, cutting at random and imperfect times, because HUD kept pressing the record button on and off.
I'm gonna test him up for. Ooh, a knife. Hey, what's up, man? Hey, guys. Hey.
What do we say?
This movie could only have existed in 2008, a
Yeah.
time before everyone ended up having a camera in their pocket, especially when physical tape itself was phased out. Throughout the movie, HUD keeps accidentally switching.
I'm sorry. For some reason, I just had the craziest image of a Kodak executive just crying in his corner, being like, we should have capitalized on this. We should have pushed it more. They had a monopoly on films and tapes, and now it's all gone. Kodak. What happened?
Switching back to the original recording on the tape, which was Rob and Beth's Nice Day Out. A happier time. Now accidentally wiped away and taped over, all to film for a going away party.
Did you switch the tape? Because I had a tape in there.
I don't know. It was
Roller coasters are fine, but like any kind of teacuppy thing.
tape was in here when I.
And then the tape is used for another purpose, filming the monster attack that ultimately kills everyone. Rob leaving and the monster attacking literally wipes out this nice memory they had.
No. Okay, well, let me ask you a question.
But
Symbolically,
it's
it's
ironically
good.
what brought them back together. Their relationship still oddly lives on as a classified file owned by the American government. Everyone has their own idea of what the most 2000s film is. The most of its era, for good and bad. And for me, I would say Cloverfield's up there. Not really because it's the most dated or of its time, but for another reason. Alright, time to talk about 9/11.
Oh, look, if Ryan Reynolds ever gets to do a Deadpool thingy with the Daredevil characters and brings back the likes of Ben Affleck's and, of course, Colin Farrell's Bullseyes, that man would never escape these sexual harassment allegations because he was fucking creepy.
I said this in a previous video, but I'll reiterate it again. Lindsay Ellis once made a point to describe Independence Day and War of the Worlds as distinctly pre- and post-9/11. I'm gonna take that metaphor and apply it to American kaiju movies. Yeah, same
Okay.
metaphor for Godzilla 1998. and Cloverfield. One is peak late 90s Americana, also directed by Roland Emmerich, about a monster rampaging through New York City, and it doesn't even knock down a building. And then there's Cloverfield.
Yeah. Gods, Empire, States.
I don't think you needed me to tell you this, but so much of this movie is directly influenced by 9/11 footage.
Yeah.
Its visual language is certainly the most 9/11-esque of any major film ever made. Matt Reeves has gone on to say the movie is a metaphor for 9/11, like how the first Godzilla was a metaphor for Hiroshima. And yeah, you can tell, it's as subtle as a brick to the face. That said, of all the major American films meant to contextualize 9/11, this one's probably the best. And it's really because the rest are just so fucking terrible. It's just one of those...
I would have wanted to point out the one with Robert Pattinson. What is he called? Oh, somebody in the comment section is going to remind me of that. That literally has nothing to do with it. But by the end, it's just a shot of him. Well, he was in the towers, so this should be more impactful to the romance. Like, what the fuck?
Events that don't work out when you try to put it on screen. Ever. Like everyone saw it on TV the first time.
Weller, look who's here! Mr. Peanut!
I love Mr. Peanut.
Mr. Peanut is here!
Is he salt-free and dry roasted?
Look at that silly guy. He's just a baby. He didn't mean for this to happen. Yeah, if you didn't know, Clover was confirmed to be a baby. Neville Page and Matt Reeves said they wanted it to be like a newborn deer. This is like the worst version of Bambi ever. At first, nothing Clover is doing is intentional. The oil tanker sinking at the beginning was probably just because Clover wandered into the Hudson, and then it exploded.
Oops.
This thing really is just a big baby. Which is kind of terrifying then, because it implies that there's a mom out there. Where is the mom? How big is the mom? There isn't even a real name for this thing. Everyone just calls it Clover.
Yep.
Clover's a little different compared to other kaiju. Godzilla, when he's taking on a villain role,
fucking
is
evil.
just downright malicious. The Pacific Rim kaiju are literally biological weapons. For a lot of kaiju, there is some intentionality to their actions. But not really with Clover, at first. Except, I guess, when it rips off the Statue of Liberty's head.
I want to point out, after watching Godzilla -1, Gojira is a dick. Dude was straight up on demon time. He was messing up with the Japanese population just because he could. One vindictive son of a lizard. Like, he was an absolute asshole in that movie. I hope that he covers it at some point.
And throws it. But hey, that's just because Matt Reeves likes Escape from New York. For the most part, this thing acts like a baby deer. A giant, fish-like monster deer. Yeah, this thing does look pretty wacky, doesn't it? It's kind of a shame that this design is only used in a movie that briefly lets you see the monster. It's only once you pause the movie or just look at a model online where the true freakiness of Clover really comes out. Look at that thing. So first off, its body shape in general, something I'd describe as spore creature. Clover's four-legged, but its body is vertical. So those main front arms, or whatever you call them, are like twice the size of its hind legs.
Yeah.
It's such a strange body plan. I love monsters that have that body plan. It's why Behemoth is the best MonsterVerse kaiju.
Yes.
I never noticed before just how big Clover's front paws are. Or at least I think they're paws. Hands? Either way, they look goofy. And then it's got these little arms on its torso.
Intestines.
At least I thought they were arms. Apparently, they're not. They're actually external esophagi, outer intestines, with teeth. In the limited manga tie-in Cloverfield Kitchen, they're literally tubes that suck people up.
Yeah, I read
But hey,
that manga.
how can you be scared of that face? He's kind of cute. A big, angry fish with weird air sac things and a large underbite. I've always thought about living in this world and what the aftermath would be like. It'd be kind of horrifying, right? Like, imagine waking up and then this is on the news. Where did it come from? What's its origin? Well, people in-universe probably would never know. At least we knew. Anybody who read the Cloverfield wiki, or watched those Cloverfield lore videos on YouTube, all of those came from the same source, the ARG. You see, J.J. Abrams really liked to incorporate hidden meanings surrounding anything he worked with, and he was very vocal about the ARG, that exploring deeper into it would unveil more information that the movie didn't. There was no need to explain to the audience what this monster was. You could just go online and find out yourself. It was a story all of its own. So what actually was the lore of Cloverfield? What was this backstory the ARG unveiled? It all led back to one name, Slusho. Okay, stick with me. So, every vlog from this girl, every bit of information collected, every MySpace post from fake people told a lore backstory on where the monster actually came from. And it all revolved around Slusho. Or more importantly, Slusho's parent company, Tagarado. There's a Japanese government satellite named Chimpanzee 3 that broke apart and fell into the Atlantic Ocean. You can see it falling at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
While scanning the Atlantic Ocean trying to find the downed satellite, Tagarado discovered something called seabed's nectar.
My dumbass, when the Netflix announcement came for Cloverfield Paradox, was immediately like, if that movie has to do with like interdimensional stuff, could it have been that their shuttle, because the MC survives at the end of that movie, could it have been that the shuttle actually came to their universe and somehow got the monster along with it? But then of course that movie ends like shit. They ruined their own continuity, a beautiful thing that they wanted to establish, but yeah, we can't always win.
A mysterious resource that comes from the bottom of the ocean, and they decided to use this mysterious resource as their secret ingredient for their slushies. So Tagarado decided to create a rig and begin drilling. So that raises the question, what the hell is seabed's nectar? Is it kaiju goo? Is it something kaijus like? Who's to say? And it was while drilling for seabed's nectar where they accidentally woke something up. Like the dwarves in Moria, Tagarado dug too deep. In December 2007, Clover awoke, got pissed, and destroyed the rig.
The Atlantic Ocean suddenly sinking under violent and unexplained circumstances.
Then it started making its way to New York City, and finally reached
New
landfall
York.
on May 22nd, 2008. Easy, to the point, it makes sense. Clover looks like a big old fish, of course it came from the ocean. The lore was settled, YouTube videos were made, and everyone moved on.
Except J.J. Abrams.
Later, Matt Reeves says the monster's actually an alien.
Matt Reeves, sorry Abrams. He also has a tendency of doing something similar, but why? Why?
In an interview with Sci-Fi, Matt Reeves discussed working on the first Cloverfield. There was this exchange, which I'm gonna read verbatim. In terms of its species, was it of this planet, or is it an alien? It's alien. In fact, at the end of the movie, you can see the moment when it comes to Earth. It's another one of those little Easter egg moments. But when we revisit the footage where they're on the Ferris wheel at the end, you see the meteor flying down and hitting the ocean. That's actually the beginning of the baby being on Earth. This was a nuke to all the ARG enjoyers out there. Truly, there were no survivors. Many simply ignored his comments. He wasn't involved in the deep lore. He just forgot what they included in the ARG. It's been 2 decades, he's just being stupid. Matt Reeves, the director, and Drew Goddard, the writer, pretty much disregarded the only canon this movie ever knew. Because if the monster's an alien, then
can
every
make more
forum
stuff.
post, every Tagarado cover-up, the station collapse, the very monster's origin would just not have happened. None of this would be canon.
Yeah.
I love the ARG lore, so I just didn't pay this much mind. And then I started making this video. I got curious, started digging deeper, I shouldn't have done that.
Inspector
Over the last
Gadget.
15 years, this movie's previously established lore has unraveled, all thanks to each interview by the people that actually made the damn thing. Let's start off simple. In an interview, J.J. Abrams was asked what the ultimate fate of the monster was, and he answered, yes, he's dead. Ultimately, the bombs kill him. At the end of the original movie's credits, there is a final audio message. It says, help us. Here's the thing. If you play this message backwards, it says the words, it's still alive. So what the fuck do we do? By the interview of JJ, the monster is dead, but by the canon of the actual movie, the monster's actually alive. Why did JJ say it was dead? Well, it's probably because he didn't know that Matt Reeves snuck it in. The major creative heads on this movie can't even agree if the creature died. I can't blame JJ for missing this little Easter egg in his own movie. He's just a producer, and he didn't have eyes on every creative decision, especially one just snuck in at the end of the credits. A lot of people missed it. Hell, even the Cloverfield wiki missed it. There's a lot of debate about whether the creature is dead or not, because some, even knowing about the backwards message, say that JJ just confirmed it was dead anyway, so it's dead. The question now is, what do we consider canon?
Why would you ruin it? You had something special. There are literally movies that are speculated to be part of the Cloverfield universe. For example, the likes of what I mentioned there with A Quiet Place, because of a similarity in some of the design. Of course, the Death Angels from A Quiet Place look a bit more like demigorgons, but hey, fantasy creatures, sci-fi, we're gonna pretend it's there. Also, there's the movie Overlord that is said to have been like the compound that the Nazis were using to turn people into zombie vampire hybrid. Could have been something that the Japanese found. So, yeah. Extraterrestrial resources. We don't know, but it's fine to speculate. Don't close the doors because you just want to create a new movie that literally ruins the entire lore of what could be even more expansive.
A clue left within the actual film itself, or an interview after the fact by just one of the creatives involved. JJ started slapping the Cloverfield name onto movies that were gonna just bomb at the box office. It was kind of a weird idea, but it could work, you know? And then Cloverfield Paradox came out.
Yeah.
Not only is it pretty terrible, but the space horror film ends with this. Yeah. A series that was getting away from the kaiju monster and making its own name ended up right back where it started, tied to the first movie. All because JJ couldn't help but jingle some keys in front of the audience. This monster, though, is really big. It's up to the clouds. If Clover is a baby, then that's probably its mom. At least I thought it was.
Right.
Until JJ opened his mouth. It's the same creature, but definitely bigger. I mean, it was a baby in the first one, so maybe it started eating its Wheaties and grew a little bit.
Yeah, nuts.
This creature at the end of Cloverfield Paradox is the same monster. This is Clover. J.J. Abrams said this monster was dead and then changed his mind a decade later for shock value. The term death of the author is used a lot. Does an author have permanent authority over the canon of what they wrote after the fact? Or should the words be left to the audience's interpretations? The problem here is that there wasn't just one author for this project. There was mainly three. Technically 4. J.J. Abrams the producer, Drew Goddard the writer, Matt Reeves the director, and honestly, the ARG. This isn't a death of the author situation. This is all of the authors fucking killing each other. They all wrote a book, and then had entirely different headcanons about what they wrote.
Yeah,
and the other
bastards.
3 really didn't know or care what the 4th was cooking up. Then most people paid attention to the 4th one. And it all started with that very first hint. The one that dates the pictures of Rob's party as 01/18/2008. Wait a second. 01/18? The movie takes place in May. Okay, you know, that's probably an honest mistake. Nothing too weird. I'm probably just looking too deep into this. The only thing that really matters, if we're gonna be honest, is the satellite. You know, the satellite that J.J. Abrams said woke up the monster. But I thought the drilling woke up the monster. Alright then, this satellite then. I don't care what Matt Reeves said. That was Chimpanzee 3, the wiki even says it. This was the exact moment the monster woke up, on April 27th, 2008. Now we just have to confirm in the ARG itself, this was when the satellite fell. And going into Tagarado Corp's website in the Wayback Machine, we see right here. Tagarado used the Hatsui satellite to try to identify a rogue piece that is thought to have fallen off the Japanese government's Chimpanzee 3 satellite. Although Hatsui's work has not yet been able to confirm the identity of the fallen piece, Tagarado scientists and engineers are busily trying to track and recover the fragment. According to Hatsui data, it disappeared into the Atlantic late last week. Awesome.
Hell yeah,
now we just
Wayback
have to find
Machine.
the date, and it's January 3rd, 2008. Wait. Why did it come to this? I just want to talk about the funny kaiju movie. Alright, here's the thing. I love the ARG. This is my canon for the last almost 20 years. But, I think I noticed its limitations. The simple fact that this was a real-time event for a movie that was released on January 18th, 2008, and Cloverfield's time frame is between April 27th and May.
Yeah.
The ARG's events kind of had to end in January, at least the major elements of it. They did post a few things after, but not a lot. Either way, this created a time gap of a few months. So what's the problem here? Just move a few dates. Well, while the ARG is implied canon, the movie is actually canon. Like, something did fall out of the sky on this date. And if you consider the dates of the ARG canon, then the satellite fell before January 3rd. It couldn't have fallen on April 27th. Now, I've seen a few explanations for this.
The paradox.
One, this was actually the secondary satellite, the Hatsui. But, like, this is collectively agreed to be Chimpanzee 3. I mean, you could pretty much ignore any time issues because it makes the events more interesting. Who cares? It's fiction. This is ultimately just headcanon. And I tried to do that. I really tried to do that. So according to the ARG, Tagarado scoured the ocean for the satellite and found the nectar spot. Then they built the rig over the nectar spot, which awoke the monster, and destroyed the rig in December 2007. But the website says they were looking for the satellite in January 2008. Why is this before that? Okay, say the Chimpanzee 3 crashed in April 27th, just like JJ said. Well then, Tagarado would have identified the area, discovered it was a source of nectar, built a rig, and then have it blow up in the span of a month.
Yeah.
You see the flaws here. If you like the ARG canon, don't let me be a buzzkill. You can have your own head canon, that's fine. But for me, I personally can't help thinking if this whole lore was just 3 marketing agencies without really any communication, all going off vague notes from Bad Robot, and they all got their dates crossed. Do we start considering parts of the ARG just not canon? Which parts are canon? Is none of it canon?
Choose.
If you look into the abyss of the mystery box, does it look back? That damn satellite just keeps popping in my head. I just keep thinking about what Matt Reeves said. How he put things into the movie that JJ didn't know about. How JJ just changes his mind. And a dark thought enters my mind. What if Clover was an alien? Remove the ARG from your mind. We are dealing with purely the info we have in the movie. What are we left with? This is a movie about young people in New York whose lives are uprooted by a monster attack. Who are the main characters? Really, it's Rob and Beth. This is Rob's camera, and it's about him learning about what's important through disaster. The movie starts with these two, and it ends with these two. If Clover was actually an alien, what does it contribute to the lore? Nothing. The ARG is not canon, all of these videos are wrong, none of it was canonical, even those really cool pictures of parasites in the ocean. We accept that the ARG was a fun marketing tool by J.J. Abrams, a guy who has been shown to not really think any of this through. And even if the ARG tried its best, it clearly was not the main priority by anyone who was in charge. So let's say Clover was an alien. He came from outer space. What does it contribute to the movie? If we go by the ARG lore, this is the ending. After Rob and Beth's death, the camera jumps to their happy day together. We see a satellite fall to the Earth in the background. Through the lore and JJ's confirmation, this was the satellite Chimpanzee 3. It may or may not have woken up the monster. While searching for it, the Tagarada Corp finds a source of seabed's nectar, which they use as an ingredient for their slushies. They create a rig to contain the creature and also drill. The creature awakes, destroys the offshore rig, and steamrolls for New York City. Cloverfield ends with a little nod to the people who followed the ARG, like JJ said. The satellite is really just a hint for people to explore the lore themselves, a wink at the audience. And this has been my headcanon since 2008. And then there is the alien ending that Matt Reeves and Drew Goddard apparently intended.
Approximately 7 hours ago, something attacked the city.
The movie ends with Rob and Beth holding each other as the bombs fall down.
I love you!
I love you!
The camera jumps to their last truly enjoyable moment together, and in that moment, Rob is oblivious that something just fell into the ocean. The object is Clover, still as an egg, falling right off the shore of Coney Island, an island directly next to the Hudson River. The egg will hatch, the alien will grow fast, and wander up the river. And as its first snack, trying to eat the Statue of Liberty. Why it's here, we don't know. But in this final scene, we do get one question answered: where it came from. The payoff of all these flashbacks truly coming to a head, showing that this camera was the first one to spot the monster. There's also that dark irony. Not only is it showing this lost relationship, but also showing the arrival of the monster that ultimately destroys them.
I had a good day.
The movie now has far less background information, but you also need less info.
Yeah.
This is a more self-contained movie.
A bit
to
more.
me, this just raises more questions. Why did it happen to land right outside New York City? Why did it try to eat the Statue of Liberty? No, actually, think about this. Other than it being a reference to Escape from New York, why in-universe did Clover try to eat the Statue of Liberty? Why did it assume it was food? Clover has never seen a human before. The statue doesn't smell like anything alive. For all it would know, this is just a big building. The only thing the Statue of Liberty did was be shaped like a human.
Who was eating people? Who's eating everyone?
And yeah, we no longer have a Lovecraftian horror, but we have a cosmic one.
Yeah.
This is a terrifying kaiju that pops out of nowhere. Our characters have no clue what's going on. And now, if you choose to accept this new idea, neither does the audience. The only information we're given from Matt Reeves is that this creature came from space, it's a baby, and it's still not dead.
Yeah.
So that video got away from me. I went into this just figuring I was gonna explain the film and ARG. That was it. Then the more I looked, the more everything unraveled. Hell, I couldn't even find evidence of J.J. Abrams saying this was Chimpanzee 3. The wiki says he said it, but I couldn't find a single source. No interview, no anything. I even kept it in the video because maybe I was missing something. Maybe there was some stone left unturned. That never happened. From what I can see, I don't think JJ ever said this was a satellite. All he ever said was they had two theories. It seems like the wiki just made it up. Headcanon is an interesting thing. Star Wars. Disney bought Star Wars. Decided every book or comic before and after the original saga just wasn't canon anymore.
Yeah.
They were now called Legends. Pretty much just a different timeline from the real
Derivatives, so
canon.
to make more
No
content.
more Yuzong Vong War, no more Thrawn until they brought him back, no Chewie getting crushed by a moon. People were pissed. All of this is just fiction at the end of the day, but you feel a real reaction when a story or event you like is deemed not real.
Oh my
within the
god.
canon.
Age of Sigmar, the event that ruined the Warhammer Fantasy. Yeah. We're not apologizing.
Of that fiction anymore. It can all go away thanks to the whims of whoever legally owns it. My point is, that same thing happened to this ARG. A creator wiped away the pre-established lore. By saying Clover was an alien the whole time, it just meant none of this was real. It didn't contribute to the Cloverfield movie. It didn't matter. people felt angry. Here's the thing though, it's fiction. Whether it's real or not is up to you. The ARG, despite its flaws, told a story, and it's now a story that some are attached to. I have gotten more enjoyment from something that technically isn't even canon according to the people that made it, more than the actual film. Just because they weren't the most well-crafted backstories and the dates don't really line up, it doesn't mean they need to go to waste. The problem is though, after this whole video, we're kind of in a conundrum. So I propose this. Just like what happened with Star Wars, I propose two ways of looking at Cloverfield lore. The Matt Reeves way, and the ARG way. If you like the idea that Clover's an alien, go with Matt Reeves. As for me, I'm sticking with the ARG. Yeah, that's right. Even after dissecting it to death, even after overanalyzing, this is still my headcanon. I was obsessed with this thing since 2008. The ARG and what it did is the main reason the movie stuck with me for so long. You really think I'm gonna change my mind just because Matt Reeves says so? Of course not. And I can't imagine many of you will either.
I mean, the only reason why I would stick to the Matt Reeves one was because I did really enjoy some elements of the other installment in the Cloverfield universe. Like 10 Cloverfield Lane, with that ending as well, like the aliens that are roaming the earth and trying to take anything that is like a biological life form. Nice. But that's like a parallel dimension, as far as I understand, to where we are at, because the Cloverfield paradox did establish the multiverse theory, wherein the Earth that we know from the original Cloverfield movie is just left in ruin with like energy resources completely lost, and yeah, there's like an entire gas crisis going on in that movie, right? And then of course they're sending these astronauts to find this specific source of energy, and everything of course goes awry. So if you'd like to pull from different source materials, I will recommend the Matt Reeves version, but this one is a bit more consistent to what we've known for, yeah, almost 2 decades.
Yeah, Clover being an alien is a neat idea and it makes the film mysterious again, but the ARG had this commercial. And it said this entire disaster was just because a Japanese company wanted to drill for slushy ingredients. So after this 40-minute video, I guess where I'm getting at here is that it's still real to me, damn it!
It's real to me! Man, J.J. Abrams is so hated for doing stuff like that. And really, he should mind his tongue. Like, come on, you can't just backpedal on things that you've established for so long.
Yeah, that's the shit right there. That's what I'm talking about.
Because the man literally has this thing of, dude, I know nothing of what the screenwriters asked me to do. I just produced the movie. I got that fat paycheck, so I'm gonna put out what they're asking me to do, despite the fact that he himself goes and gets involved into how the law was supposed to unfold. But yeah, this was an amazing watch. I loved it so much. Now I think the next step, given that we've covered almost everything that Emmerich has done, we should be jumping to his direct competitor, Michael Bay. So next video will likely be on the Transformer movies. So guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, please do make sure to go and subscribe to Cody on the PointlessHub channel. And of course, if you like this one, don't forget to hit that like button. And I wish you all to have a wonderful day. See you guys in the next one. Bye.